you can overcome. You can overcome adversities. You can prevail against problems or struggles. You can win. You don't have to be a reflection of your parents' choices and decisions. You can be you, and being you is good enough. You hear me? Being you is good enough. So I remember those sayings like, what happens in my house stays in my house, or when you go out there in the world, you better act right because you're a reflection of me, right? I remember those sayings. I think those were there to shut us up. Really, I believe those sayings were there to make sure that we didn't talk and we didn't understand the power in our voice. So statistics say that 1 in 5 children are raised in a household with some type of an abuse, like whether that is substance abuse or physical, emotional, mental abuse, right? 1 in 5. Yeah, 1 in 5. That's a lot, right? I'm one of those 1 in 5. I remember growing up, and family was always really important. Um, I was a product of 2 families that didn't necessarily like each other. They were from 2 different sides of the tracks. Um, I remember not feeling like I was good enough for one side and feeling like maybe they thought that I was better than them on the other side. Like it was just constant conflict of not feeling like I could fit in anywhere, like I didn't really belong. We struggled. We definitely struggled a lot. There was a lot of inconsistencies. Um, we probably lived with every family member, which is kind of how we were as a unit. I think everybody lived with everybody at least once. um, but it just wasn't really comfortable. It didn't feel like home. There was always something missing. One time in middle school, I was walking to school, and we lived in, at the time, we were living in a motel. So there was like a brick wall in front of that motel, and I would hide down and like let all of the other kids go because I didn't want anybody to know that we were staying in there. Like I was embarrassed, and I was taught that you don't say nothing, right? What happens in our house stays in our house. You don't talk about it. You just keep pushing and you do what you got to do. Don't get me wrong. I learned resilience. I definitely learned resilience. Um, but just that uncomfortability and having to hide and pretend that everything is okay when it wasn't was what we were taught indirectly. That's what we were taught. So moving on to high school, I remember thinking that, if I get this high school diploma, that it was just going to be my ticket out, right? I hadn't really seen much or experienced much outside of, this 5 block radius, which if you guys grew up with me, you know which 5 blocks I'm talking about. So I didn't really see much outside of that. And I really wanted to be able to experience that. And I saw that not a lot of people around me had a high school diploma. So I felt that knowledge was key. And that's also something my great grandmother talked to me about a lot, is just, continue to learn, keep your mind sharp. And so I figured that this thing that all these people around me didn't have and wasn't able to get, that this was going to be my ticket. This was going to be my golden ticket. But by the time I was in high school, I was already a reflection of my parents. I was a reflection of my neighborhood. I was a reflection of everyone around me. I hadn't yet found myself. I was drinking, I was smoking, I was doing all of these things to help me cope because that's what I saw as the tool to help me cope. So now I can say that is no longer my only source of coping, right? Learn some different ways of how to be able to cope, how to be able to communicate, and sharing my experiences in life with you all is one of those ways. I no longer have to be silent. You no longer have to be silent, and you can start your healing. We don't have to be a reflection of where we came from. We can change that. We have that control. So understanding that you have the ability to change the things that you can control. And then learn to forgive yourself for some of those old patterns that you thought were your fault, because they weren't. They weren't your fault. To some extent, we're all products of our environment. But please be encouraged to change the script. Doing something different can be very hard, but it is so worth it, right? It really is. It really, really is. For example, I am a parent, I am a mother, and my children don't know that walk, right? They don't know the staying with everyone. They don't know the struggle. They don't know putting sugar on the cereal, right, to make it sweet. They don't know anything like that. And that's because I made a choice to do something different. And even though it was scary, but by the grace of God, I didn't break them, not all the way. But I just really wanted to share with you that you can overcome adversities because I have been able to do that. It's healing, and getting over that rejection is something that you're going to have to continue to work on. But first, you got to create some type of healthy coping skills. How do you cope? Yeah. If you don't have a pen and paper, go get it, because we're going to need to write. You got to have some healthy coping styles. Figure out something that you like, something that makes you feel good, something that brings you joy, and then do that. When you feel like life is getting to life in, then do that one thing. What it can be, it can be writing, it can be reading, it can be coloring, it can be listening to music. It can just be being still, meditating, being present, not running from those emotions, dealing with them, processing them. Because it's okay sometimes to not be okay. You just got to get up. You can't stay there too long. Right? Whatever that thing is, make music, listen to music, swim, walk, run, exercise, whatever that thing is that then breathes life back into you. That's what you need to do to cope. Not the things that are taking life away from you. Not the drinking, not the smoking, not the cussing, not the fighting. We've done enough of that. We have done enough, and we have seen enough. So once we come up with these ways of how to cope and accept some of the things that we had no control over to begin with, and then forgive ourselves for blaming ourselves, and accepting that we are worth it and we are good enough, then we begin to have a healthier relationship with ourselves. And then we begin to change these generational projections, right? These things that have been happening over and over and over again by modeling a healthy relationship with ourselves. Then the people around us start to do the same exact thing, right? So you can. The situation isn't here for forever. It's going to pass. Statistics say that 1 in 5 child is going to have issues, loneliness, low self-esteem, um, people pleasing, uncertainty, unhappiness, disbelief in themselves, all of these things, right? And statistics are showing it. But we don't have to be the statistic. We can be overcomers. I am an overcomer, and you can be an overcomer too.